Hey, welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Brett Martineau here, Austin Lane, Coos back in the Action Sports Shack studios. We just had a full house a moment ago with Brendan Gaughan and John Bachman in. And, hey, we've got more guests right here at Daytona International Speedway, and including a guy you know, hometown guy for us every time we come to Daytona, Scott Lagasse Jr. from St. Augustine. What's up, man?
Just came down to hang out, get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tomorrow is a big day. We're going to talk about it, but what does hanging out mean? I think last time I caught up with you were in an RV hanging out. You still doing that, or you hanging out in a different way?
A little bit, yeah. Hang out, not some. Actually, I want to know what you and Brendan had to talk about, because he's always a trip.
He was awesome.
I couldn't hear, but I could see what was going on over here when I walked up.
I told him, like, when I was back in Albany, New York, I got introduced more so to racing, NASCAR. We did a show as Fox 23 Fast Track up in Albany, and I didn't really do much with the show, but once in a while I'd have to fill in. And so I'd have to talk about all these different races. But, like, Brendan Gaughan was a superstar in the trucks race back then. And so I remember saying his name all the time. Then I ended up seeing him down here. But his background of basketball, place kicking, his family out in Vegas. So he's got now he's doing radio shows.
He's a trip. He is a good time and as good a person as you'll meet. He's a lot of fun.
How much is that the norm in your world in terms of drivers? Because I think nowadays in sports, I think we've seen this in golf. Like golf, there seems to be like a camaraderie, even though it's an individualized sport. I think a lot of times in professional sports and team sports, there's so much money and different classifications of that money. If you're the quarterback, you're making $30 million. If you're a rookie, you're making like $400,000. That's a big difference. And then also so many different backgrounds, like in a football locker room, baseball locker room. But how much is the camaraderie a big part of it amongst drivers in this sport?
It's really cool. It's neat. It was nothing like I expected it to be in that regard. When I first came in, I was welcomed right away, and what I found is most of the guys and girls are really, really, really cool, laid back, genuinely good people. Typically, the more successful the drivers I seem to get along with better. They're more laid back and more fun to hang out with. But yeah, for the most part, it's a pretty cool garage area. A lot of people call it a family, and I guess you get in tiffs just like that. No different.
Yeah, well, I think a big example of that is your race that you have coming up. We talk to you annually about this race. That will start right here at Daytona International Speedway. And by the way, we're not talking about four wheels. We're talking about two. It's a bicycle race. With
not race.
Ride, sorry.
You can't tell these guys.
Transportation. Don't race. That's right. This is a ride. We're all together here on this one. But Jimmy Johnson's been a big supporter of it over the years. So that kind of indicates and shows you that you guys support one another.
He is he's the top in every regard of our sport, and any driver coming in, when they ask me things, I tell them that's your goal. That's who, forget the racing. Everybody knows his stats. Everybody knows he's phenomenal. But as a human being, as a person, as a friend, you can't get any better than him. I told somebody the other day, I think if I needed his plane, he'd send it to me and then never ask me a question or never ask me for a dime for it. And he's just that good of a person. And he's the goal I tell everybody to go after. And he's been a huge supporter of this bike ride from day one. He's really stepped it up this year. This year is call it bittersweet, sad, whatever you want to do it. We're going to do it, try to keep it upbeat. But Officer Deputy Frank Schofield was, when the bike ride started, it was very small, kind of a small group of us doing it, and Frank rode in it. The next thing I know, I had a massive law enforcement presence. So turned out Frank was one of the few that was pushing hard behind the scenes. But anyway, I went to Frank's funeral, and during it I texted Jimmy and Steve Phelps, the president of NASCAR, and just said, hey, man, I really want to do something special for Frank. And I got back from everybody, let's go at it. And so we're going to – tomorrow's ride is really in honor of Frank, and I'm excited about everything that's come together, who's showing up. Got a note from the sheriff. He's going to come and support and say a few things about Frank. So it really is a neat. For me, it's humbling to see what this simple bicycle ride of a few of us has turned into from a from a safety messaging standpoint. That's strictly what it is, safety messaging.
Yeah, and it's called the 6th Annual Champions Ride for Bicycle Safety. And you've done different incarnations of it, it feels like, right? I mean, from starting points to finish points. This one's going to end New Smyrna Beach.
We change the route up every year. It's one of those things we've juggled with because I would love to be able to just bring the masses. But a lot of guys got to race that day.
Yeah. So
you get somebody hurt, plus it's a massive undertaking for law enforcement. So we tend to keep the ride quiet on when it's going to go, what time it's going to leave, where the route it's going to be, and then try to afterwards pump it up on the media and just try to say, hey, from a couple standpoints, cyclists, we're human. It's somebody, right? It very well could be Jimmy. He's on the roads all around here. All the drivers are riding now, thanks to Jimmy. Jimmy kind of made it cool, if you want to call it that. But then on the flip side, from the cyclist, be respectful to the motorist. It takes two, right? Yeah. You got to give and take. So that to me is kind of cool that everybody's stepping up. And then we've got Olympic athletes, professional wakeboarders. I mean, you name it. The people that are showing up is pretty amazing to me.
We're here with Scott Lagasse Jr. Obviously, has drove around here in a stock car many a times. He's kind of our St. Augustine, our local driver, if you will, and always shed some light on NASCAR. We'll do that a little bit more in just a moment. But also, this ride has become a big deal and obviously close to your heart. Give us a little bit of a background on that part of it. I mean, you just liked cycling and said, hey, let's do something and get on board with it and promote safety. Is it as simple as that?
Nah, I mean, it kind of is. For me, I played a lot of basketball. You do things to train. And it became something that I could do with my dad. He and I could cycle together. It's you got to stay in shape, you got to train. So it started out as that, and unfortunately, Florida is not good. No. We hurt or kill a lot of people every year, and so I started doing that, and then kind of got put together with Alert Today, Alive Tomorrow, which is the Department of Transportation's safety mechanism. I think that's a proper way to say it, and started doing a lot of appearances, trying to help get the word out. All kinds of different things of just, hey, pay attention on both sides again. And then this.
And not just older folks, because we've gone with you to elementary schools around, and you've done some other things, I feel like. That's probably the most fun,
right? To see, I can remember as a kid when somebody come and talk to me, you would listen, right? And you would wear your helmet, you would do what you said to do. So those are obviously the most fun. And I think, my opinion is hopefully we get that kind of ingrained from a society standpoint. So it's across the board. Then like I said, the bike ride just kind of came out of a grassroots thing, and FDOT is they have been so supportive of it, from pushing media to just anything you can imagine they help with, and that to me is it's been this community come together to kind of spread this message, which is really, again, humbling.
Well, it's also the power of platform sometimes, too, which is a pretty cool thing to be able to use it in a positive way. Give us an update on one final question about this, about the ride. What has changed maybe since you started it in terms of some of the successes? Obviously you're getting the word out, right? I mean, you're pushing it on young kids and adults and everybody, drivers, cyclists, everything. But have we seen some things that's satisfying to you? Or do we have a long way to go?
I wish I had these numbers with me. We always have a long way to go because one life is obviously too many.
Yeah.
But the state of Florida itself, and I'm not saying that this is the bike ride that's done it, because that really wasn't the intent of the bike ride from that standpoint. But I heard just a month ago that we have, in all regards, gotten better, which is and in large amounts. And for me, that's neat because I see the amount of work that they put in it, that FDOT puts into safety, all this behind-the-scenes work. And I see the emails that come in at 2 o'clock in the morning when somebody was working and asking if you'll do this. And so to me, to see those numbers change, hopefully the bike ride's helping. Hopefully what we're doing is helping. But the numbers are getting better, and that for me is really, really cool.
Well, good luck with the bike ride tomorrow, with everybody being a big part of it, and honoring Frank Schofield as well from Volusia County.
One day we'll have you on it.
Yeah, I know it's a tough time period because of the early start and the late race at night and everything else going on Daytona 500 week. But we're always here to support it and push it out as well, even if you don't get me pedaling all the time. But someday we will get on that. Talk about the four wheels around here a little bit. How will you, if you're not driving this weekend?
Yeah, it hurts to hear, man.
Does it though? I mean, do you still have that passion where it does hurt
to
hear, or do you like just being a fan sometimes and there's no pressure?
I'm a horrible fan.
Are you?
I'm a terrible fan. No, I actually ran into Mr. Helton Sunday. I was down here to look at a couple things, and I ran into him, and it reminded me of a conversation I had with him 10 years ago. The team I was driving for, I was headed, cup conversations. Everything was perfect in life, and it collapsed, fell out, ran out of money. And I was left with a tough choice. Do I go run 35th every week, try to grind it out and see if I can get a ride in the better stuff, which is highly, highly, highly unlikely? Or, do I go grind it out and that's my living? Or do I go do something different? And for me, I sat down with quite a few people. John Bickford's one of them, which is Jeff Gordon's stepfather, raised Jeff, runs a lot of stuff for Jeff, Mr. Helton. But we got to talk about it on Sunday. I made a decision when that happened that I was going to run when I had a shot at winning, I felt like. And so I didn't feel like that was there this time. Maybe July. There's talks for Talladega. There's talk for road courses. And then on the other side, I don't know how many NASCAR races I'll run this year. I've committed to a road course program and absolutely love it. Yeah. It's based out of home here. I've got 2 little girls now, so I'm home more. I try to be, I guess. So I don't know what the NASCAR side is going to lend. I do know that I'll be in Sebring in 3 weeks, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's just different. It's a new challenge, I guess, in life.
It's interesting, you talk to a lot of you guys over the years. It's like talking to a Major League Baseball player and asking him about his Little League days when he was 6 or 8 years old. Because the smile comes to everybody's face, but if you ask these guys about their dirt track racing or go-kart racing or different styles, like the roots of the sport sometimes.
It's the challenge.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, you guys
it's pure.
love that, man. You just said it. Pure, authentic. Yep. There's something genuine to it, even though maybe the dollars and the star value and the hype isn't there. It's something you guys seem to appreciate a lot.
Yeah, I think, and you'll see that. I mean, you look at everybody across the board right now, Larson, Smoke, a lot of guys that more than capable of winning races at this level, or winning races at this level, but still go do other stuff. And it's I'm anxious to see what Jimmy's going to do. I've been trying to pry it out of him, but I'm not getting anything yet. Twisting his arm, maybe come play with me some.
Those marathons and bike rides aren't.
He's a machine. He is. We'll train together occasionally, and you better be on your game.
Yeah.
He's tough, and I can't right now. I can't keep up with him. I can promise you that. Yeah. I've been off for 6 weeks with a concussion deal, so I'm a little fat and lazy. I'm gonna get hurt tomorrow probably.
Well, have a good ride tomorrow. It's a jump shot, by the way. You still playing hoops or what?
I am not right now, but I need to because I'm.
Gotta get back in it.
I do.
Don't let it go too far, man. You gotta keep that jump shot of all things. Yeah. Hey, show up at the Y and nail a jumper. That's a big deal.
Yeah. It's a tough crowd there. It's fun.
Scott Lagasse Jr., always good to catch up with him here, Daytona weekend beyond. Good luck tomorrow with the ride, man. Congratulations on all the success.
Thank you guys for pushing it.
You're doing a great job with it, and that's early tomorrow. We'll share more of that tomorrow afternoon, by the way, when it's done, and on TV side, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Scott Lagasse Jr., more from Daytona International Speedway here on a Wednesday edition of Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690 when we come back.